Welcome back to Over the Horizon Sports, analysis from a holographic perspective. As we do a recap of Game 3, we see that absolutely nothing almost went right for what we were looking for. And that seemed to be the easiest game that we had to predict. But the problem was, 90% of the time that 6 program will collapse on a one day on the road, that pitcher, which was Josh Tomlin. When I did my initial research on this whole series between the Chicago Cubs and looking at the 1908 Cleveland Naps, where these historical twins both come from both of these teams back to this World Series now, I had this man here on the screen written down, and from looking at everything from all the different angles that I do, it totally just spaced my mind when I was doing the write-up for Game 3. And if I'd had that in there, seeing this historical twin that was coming back, the possibility of coming back, and yes, he came back in a big way, just like Mordecai Brown did when Jake Arrieta took the mound in Game 2. This Game 3 historical twin is from the 1908 Cleveland Naps. His name is Adrian Joss, better known as 80 Joss, from the 1908 Cleveland Naps. He went 24-11 that year. He had a 116 average, which was the second best still today in all of Major League history, I believe. He was born on 4/12/1880, which makes him a 6 program. And when you look at Josh Tomlin, he was born on 10/19/1984, which also makes him a 6 program. So I totally left out the return of a historical twin from the 1908 Naps. This 80 Joss, he went to the Hall of Fame. His career was cut short at the age of 31 from meningitis. And just today, Josh Tomlin, his 80 Joss's future twin, he's 32 years old, and just today he pitched the World Series game of a lifetime. He threw a 2-hitter in Chicago against the Cubs, and that just totally blew everything out of the water. So don't ever forget to integrate historic figures when they return from history, as we're watching this 1908 World Series come full circle in 2016. And that being said, it really isn't worth much commenting on from the rest of the game. It was just Josh Tomlin was the hero of the day. He is the future twin of Adrian Joss, the Hall of Famer. And, Adrian Joss, if he had an opportunity to go to that 1908 World Series instead of Detroit, and that's what we're watching here, is if the Cleveland Indians would have met the Chicago Cubs in the 1908 World Series, if the entirety of the 1908 season had been played out, and the Cleveland Naps weren't ripped off and denied the ability to go to the World Series because Detroit played one less game than them that year, and the Cleveland Naps only finished a half game back. So far, we see the Naps taking that revenge on the Cubs, going up 2-1. As we look tomorrow at Game 4, we have another historical figure coming back, and I didn't miss this one. I didn't miss Adrian Joss either. I just totally skipped it when I was writing things up, and it's a major skip because if you see a historical figure that threw 1.16 ERA in 1908 that played for the Cleveland Naps, and his future twin, Josh Tomlin, is standing on the mound, is at 6. Well, there's a good chance he's not going to collapse. So that would have, totally altered everything we predicted. And yeah, that was real bad. You couldn't get any worse than that prediction. But it is incredible to see what Josh Tomlin did, and how Adrian Joss, connects with him from 108 years ago. Now we look at tomorrow's Game 4. We have Corey Kluber again, which he's on his day, so he's going to be his best. He's on a 2-day. He's a 2 program. It's a 2-day, but he's only going on 3 days rest. Our historical figure now, and yeah, I didn't miss it this time, or leave it out. I didn't miss it last time. It's stupid me overlooked it. But we look at John Lackey. He was born on 10/23/1978. He is a 4 program. His historic twin from the 1908 Cubs, which I didn't have on the original list because I didn't know at that time that he was pitching. His historic twin is Orville Overall. He was the Game 5 winner for the Chicago Cubs in the 1908 World Series. His birth date was 2/2/1881, which makes him a 4 program also. Now, so far, if you've been following along, even though I blew the one with 80 Joss, which is this picture here, now we're going to show a picture of Orville Overall. That is Orville Overall from the Chicago Cubs, Game 5 winner in 1908. The 4 program, the same that John Lackey is. What we've had so far now, we've had Mordecai Brown, his twin, Jake Arrieta, won. We had 80 Joss, his twin this year, Josh Tomlin, he won. Well, he pitched a game of a life. He didn't get the win in that Game 3 World Series, I don't believe, because there was no score until the 7th, and he only pitched into the 5th. So tomorrow we have our 3rd historic twin, big time replay here. We'll see if that plays out just like the last 2 did. We have from the 1908 World Series, Orville Overall from the Chicago Cubs, Game 5 winner, and he returns tomorrow as John Lackey. So the final score in that 1908 Game 5 was 2-0 Chicago. And well, if Chicago loses tomorrow, it's really not looking good. So we'll see if we go 3-0 on the historic playbacks with our 3rd pitcher, Orville Overall, coming back as John Lackey, his twin from 1908. The best Cub hitters on that for that 4th game, is Fowler, Hayward, Bryant, Russell, and Coughlin. The best Indians hitters tomorrow on the 4th game is Davis, Lindor, Napoli, Ramirez, Chisenhall, and Crisp. The best Cub relievers will be Chapman. He's a closer. He's on his best day. We have Strop, Montgomery, and Wood. They're all on most compatible days, so they should do well. The best Indians relievers, Merritt, Shaw, Miller, Otero, and Manship. We have a lot of good relievers tomorrow lined up. This looks like a low-scoring game, like 1905 or 1908, Game 5, 2-0. We'll see. Just like today, if we'd have seen that, Hendricks was on his best day. He didn't do really good, but he didn't give up any runs. They had a ton of runners on, but they managed to get out of most of the problems. If I'd have had the 80 Joss connected with Josh Tomlin the way I did at the beginning and didn't lose it somewhere, I would have said, well, this could be a very low-scoring game. Well, this one tomorrow could be a very low-scoring game also. But the Cubs know if they lose, it's pretty much, lights out. So I would not be surprised to see Lackey win that game, even though Kluber's on his best day. Lackey's got that historical twin, Orville Overall, coming back from 1908. The worst Cub relievers in Game 4 will be Edwards, Rondon, and Grimm. The worst Indians relievers in Game 4 will be Allen, Clevenger, and McAllister. All our stats from anything I use in these videos comes from baseballreference.com and baseballalmanac.com. And this is a short video tonight, and we'll see how this Game 4 plays out. Thank you for listening. Good night.